Hello students, I hope you all are doing well, wearing your masks, not going out frequently, and washing your hands with soap and water or with the hand sanitizers. With this, let us start the topic we left yesterday, that is factors affecting capital structure decision. We completed these points given on this slide till flexibility. So today, with revising a few of these, we would move ahead with the next topics control next topics included in this main title. So we would revise with the cost of debt. Cost of debt is one of the such ingredient of the capital structure that if the interest rate on debt is less, then company can employ more debt in its capital structure. However, in case the higher cost of debt, the company may prefer more of equity because higher cost of the debt means increase in fixed financial charges, and gradually it may end up in a company's position being turning out into a defaulter. The next point is cost of equity. Shareholders would expect a certain rate of return on their investment in form of equity shares because since they are the owners, they bear the major risk in the business. So when a company increases debt, the financial risk faced by the equity shareholders also increases. Consequently, their desired rate of return may also go up. Therefore, a company cannot use debt beyond a certain limit. If the debt is used beyond that limit, cost of equity may go up sharply and share prices may decrease because a company which has piles of debt is generally not preferred by the equity shareholders for investing their hard earned money. Hence, for maximization of shareholders' wealth, debt can be used only up to a level. Next point is flotation cost. Flotation cost is also asked for 1 mark MCQ. The meaning of flotation cost is the cost associated with the fundraising process, the cost of advertising, printing of the prospectus, paying commission and brokerages to the banks and brokers. So more of this flotation cost involved with the type of capital, less attractive is that source of finance. So the cost of raising funds from various sources should be carefully estimated before making a choice. Securities with minimum flotation cost should be preferred because flotation cost has to be paid even before you get your funds. So it is a pre kind of expense that you have to pay before you actually get your finance or funds through the source. So before you select any source of capital, you must find out its flotation cost. Normally, flotation cost would be associated with equity, preference or debentures that you float or you issue in the market. The next is tax rate. For this, we'll be going to the next slide. Tax rate is a major determinant of inclusion of debt or equity in our capital structure. Say interest on debt is a tax deductible expense. Therefore, a higher tax rate makes debt relatively cheaper. So more debt can be used. But we all know that more debt means the debt has to be used until your EPS or your return on investment is greater than what you have to pay as cost of debt. Here one example of how tax deductibility affects your profitability is given. Say you are issuing debentures of 10% worth rupees 1 lakh and the income tax or the corporate tax payable is 30%. So what is the actual cost of debentures? Is it 10% or less than it? Let us examine. Here the EBIT is given as 40,000. From that we will be deducting I, interest first. Interest of 1 lakh at the rate of 10% comes to 10,000. So your net earning before tax is 30,000 or profit before tax. Then we deduct the taxation. Here is the main part of calculation. So on 30,000 you have to pay tax at the rate of 30% already given. It comes to 9,000. Now assume that there is no debt, there is no debentures. So on full 40,000 you will have to pay tax of at the rate of 30%, and that would come to 12,000. Now see the difference between the two situations. First, in which we had the debt debentures, in the second we were not having any debt. So the difference between the tax payments in these two situations is 3,000. So if you have debt, you are paying less tax, that is 9,000 here, and if you do not have any debt, you are paying more tax, that is 12,000. So here tax savings due to debt is 3,000. So actually you are not paying 10,000 as debentures interest, rather you are paying only 7,000, because 3,000 is the savings of yours in terms of tax rates. Simply calculating, if you are calculating 30% of 10,000, 10,000 is interest, then it comes to 3,000. So directly 3,000 would be your savings. Or just calculate 10% minus 30%, so it comes to 7%. So 7,000 of 1 lakh, or 7% of 1 lakh is 7,000, would be your interest savings. So only you have to pay is 7,000, because 3,000 is the net savings you are bearing because, or you are earning because of your inclusion of debt. The next is control. The issue of debt normally does not cause a dilution of management's control. While if you issue equity shares, the more number of equity shares means more dilution of control. As we all know, equity shareholders are the owners of the firm, so they have the voting rights, and every time a firm wishes to have or decide upon major issues, if it wants to take any major decisions on anything going on in the firm, in the company, it will have to take approval of equity shareholders. So if a firm has or does not want to dilute its managerial control, then it may not issue more equity shares, because more equity shares means there is a threat of takeover also from the other persons who have more equity shares than the owners or promoters of the company. The next is flexibility. If a company uses debt potential to the full, it would lose its further flexibility to obtain new debt. It's like you do not spend whole of your earning, you keep something as savings for your future. Same here, you do not utilize all your debt raising capabilities, you keep something for the future as well. Otherwise, you will be full of debt, losing the flexibility of taking any fresh debt in the future. Now, this is the new point. Revision is over. The 4 points remaining in this topic. Regulatory framework. Now, every company operates within a regulatory framework provided by the law. Like in this case of issues, various kinds of securities issues, like debentures or shares or preference shares, every Indian company will have to follow Companies Act 2013 or the relevant act of 1956 and SEBI guidelines. SEBI is Securities and Exchange Board of India. So a company, before issuing or going ahead with any kind of capital structure decision, it will have to follow Companies Act as well as SEBI guidelines. So even for raising funds from banks and other financial institutions, you as a company will have to fulfill various other norms and requirements. So generally, company prefer the source of finance in which easy and less legal or regulatory requirements are needed. So normally the company promoters or board of directors may not prefer a lot of regulatory framework. Ease of doing business or ease of conducting an issue is seen first. So less regulations, more attractive is the arena for the company to issue various types of securities, and vice versa. If the regulatory framework is too tight and too complicated, then they or too much demanding in terms of fulfilling of various legal clauses, then that fund or that source of fund may completely be ignored by the board of directors. The next is stock market reaction or condition. The stock market condition also affect the capital structure. Like during the boom period or the bullish phase when the share markets are rising, say Sensex or Nifty or other indices are rising, equity shares can easily be issued even at a higher prices. But when there is a depression or recession period that is known as bearish phase, a company may find it difficult to raise equity capital and hence it may opt for debt, because during the lackluster period or recession period you may not get enough money from the public, since people will fear the further recession and they may not invest in risky ventures like equity shares. Rather, they would invest in fixed deposits in which the return on their investment is quite assured. So, from a company's viewpoint also, when there is a bullish phase, people will be ready to invest in any company's shares in expectations of rising prices and vice versa. Next is capital structure of other companies. Debt equity ratios of other companies in the same industry act as a guideline for planning the capital structure. This means the company should follow the industry norms. However, it should not follow the industry norms blindly. For example, if the business risk of a company is higher, it cannot raise more debt because it would lead to finance risk. I hope you all remember what was the business risk. A business risk would arise if you have a lot of fixed operating expenses like rent, salaries, and insurance premiums. So you can follow the industry norms because in such a situation the total or overall risk would be higher if already your business risk is higher. So if your firm already has a lot of fixed expenses, that is business risk, then you may not add by issuing or by raising your fund through debt sources, because that would raise your financial risk. The last point is return on investment. This is very easy to understand, as well as this point would be helpful in solving the problems of EBIT EPS analysis. So when the ROI of the company is higher than the rate of interest on debt, it can use more debt to increase its earning per share. So if the shareholders of the company are likely to gain with the debt or loan component in the capital employed, then it would reap the benefits of trade on equity. But always remember that EPS will increase only if the return on investment is greater than the return or the rate of interest on debt. So ROI is one of the indicators of how much debt can be taken. If your rate of interest that you have to pay on your funds, on your finance, is greater than your return on investment, you may not opt for debt financing, right? So more debt would increase certainly EPS, but only till the point your ROI, that is your income, is greater than what you have to pay to your debt holders. So this is all about factors affecting capital structure decisions. In the next video, I will be moving ahead with the fixed capital and then factors affecting the fixed capital. Thank you and have a nice day.